On any given set, there are 1,000 different things for the cast and crew to keep in mind in order to prevent continuity errors and other mistakes, so it's no wonder that some things slip through the cracks. With TV shows expected to pump out content at a faster rate than movies, it's even more likely that even the best shows overlook a detail or two. Fortunately, in this age of streaming, binge watching, and overanalyzing, nothing gets by the internet. Here are 10 shocking mistakes in hit TV shows. The Simpsons. Before you go getting all judgy about your favorite shows making mistakes, bear in mind that most continuity errors go unnoticed by the majority of viewers. For example, how many times do you think you've seen the classic opening credit sequence of The Simpsons? The original opening was used for almost 20 seasons and contained a mistake you probably saw hundreds of times but never noticed. When Homer gets out of his car and is almost run over by Marge, you can see a bunch of things in the back right corner of the garage, but when it cuts to the next shot, the bike, tools, rake, and all the other clutter are replaced by a couple of boxes. Friends. Remember the one where Rachel wears a vanishing necklace? At the beginning of this scene, Rachel can be seen wearing one of her typically fashionable accessories around her neck. But when Ross shows up with his new girlfriend, it disappears, then reappears briefly before vanishing completely. It was early in the series when Rachel was still dabbling in the dark arts. Nobody talked about it much.
I didn't mean to disturb you, my lady.
You could never disturb me.
Game of Thrones. Speaking of magic necklaces, anyone who saw the Season 6 premiere of Game of Thrones learned that Melisandre has a pretty special necklace herself. When she removes it, we see that it's what provides the old witch with her beautiful facade. With no more books from George R.R. Martin to guide them, the showrunners seem to be laying down the track as they go, especially when you consider Melisandre was shown without a necklace while bathing in Season 4, and she is clearly no crone. The Walking Dead. When you see promotional stills for movies or TV shows, they may look like they're taken right from the footage, but most of the time they're actually taken by still photographers who are on set during filming. They're often one step behind the real camera crew catching the scene, as you can see in this Walking Dead clip, where the stills photographer doesn't move in time and his reflection is visible as he documents himself ruining the shot.
Yo, we having a party? Oh, so we can get stupid, right?
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In the pilot episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will makes himself at home in his new digs by dancing to Soul and hanging a Malcolm X poster. As he punches staples into the wall, you can see the flimsy set walls waver. Either the crew didn't think the show would last long enough to make the sets a little more permanent, or Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv have some serious structural issues to take care of. How I Met Your Mother. In Subway Wars, the gang tests one another's knowledge of New York City transit by seeing who can find the quickest route to a downtown restaurant. In the first scene, Ted uses Bing to bring up a map on his laptop. No, the mistake isn't that he's using Bing. Microsoft clearly paid for that placement. The mistake is the location visible in the top right corner of the browser. The map may show New York City streets where the show takes place, but Bing reveals they're actually in Los Angeles, California, where the show is filmed. That 70s Show. You know what the best part of that 70s show was? Those 90s toys. Not to get all Big Bang Theory on them, but in the episode where Eric tests Red's Star Wars knowledge by having him identify characters from the toys, the figures are not era appropriate. Star Wars fans and toy collectors will be able to instantly identify these as 90s reissues, not the 1977 collection Eric would have. Contrary to popular belief, it wouldn't have actually been that hard to track down a couple of original figures for this scene, and it would have been a nice throwback for people who actually remembered playing with them in those innocent pre-Jar Jar days. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's so hard to find good demons these days. In the Season 3 premiere of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, our hero finds herself fighting a whole gaggle of demons from another dimension. Luckily for her, they don't seem to be trying very hard. At one point, Buffy throws a spin kick that clearly doesn't make contact, but seeing a nice soft mat lying just off the platform, the demon decides to throw himself on it all the same. It must have been a comfy mat, as we can see the demon just chilling there for the next couple shots. In later seasons, they would learn to keep these things off camera.
Pizza.
Well, I'm making dinner.
Breaking Bad. As far as famous pizzas go, it goes the cheese pizza Buzz eats in Home Alone, then the pie Spicoli orders to class in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, followed closely by the extra-large pepperoni Walter White roofs in Breaking Bad. Bryan Cranston famously landed the pizza in the perfect place on the first take. It was such a funny image that they decided to leave it there for the remainder of the episode, though it moves around the roof a little depending on the shot, and even gains some extra pepperoni at one point. It's presumably just out of the frame when the cousins enter the house, but it should have been briefly seen as the axe is taken out of the trunk. People love this gag so much, the owners of the actual house have had issues with people throwing pizzas on the roof.
Gotcha. Ready when you are.
The Flash. Filmmakers and TV directors often use editing tricks that make scenes much more dramatic but don't really make sense if you think about them in real space and time. For example, this scene from The Flash where Barry is in the crosshairs of Hot and Cold and Eddie saves his skin. It may look cool, but let's take a closer look. Shots of the Flash and the impending doom coming his way establish lots of clear space around them, with police cruisers off in the distance. Yet Eddie seems to come out of nowhere with the shield. Where did he come from? How did Hot and Cold not see him? Either the director hoped we'd be too into the moment to catch this altered geography, or Eddie has some secret powers we don't know about. So, are we mistaken in calling any of these mistakes? What accidents have you noticed in your favorite shows? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.